And the legend they say on a Valentine's Day is the curse that will live on and on. This Valentine's Day romance is dead. My Bloody Valentine, released in 1981, the very height of the slasher genre. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. So 1981, the film My Bloody Valentine was released, and this is a Canadian slasher, directed by George Mihalka, starring Paul Kelman, Hallier and Neil Affleck. And the story goes, they say, on a Valentine's Day, was this guy Harry Warden, who was a miner, and he was involved in a mining accident way back in 1960. And what happened was this town called Valentine's Bluffs, where they throw a big Valentine's Day dance every year. That's like the big event of the year. And what happened was, down in the mining shaft, these two supervisors really wanted to go to that Valentine's dance. So they went ahead and just left work early. And what happened was they forgot to check the gas levels in the mine. And what happened was there was a big explosion, and these 5 miners were trapped in the rubble underneath. And only one man survived, and that was Harry Warden. And he ended up going absolutely insane and resorting to cannibalism to stay alive. And he ended up being institutionalized. Until 1 year later, he returned for his revenge and murdered several of the townsfolk in full mining gear with a pickaxe and everything, and took out their hearts and delivered them in a Valentine's candy box. Quite a gift to receive on Valentine's Day, isn't it? And then he ended up being caught, but here we are 20 years later, and the murders are starting to happen again because they're throwing another Valentine's Day dance. Now, they hadn't done it in 20 years because of the events of back in 1961 there. But they decided, it's been long enough time has passed, Harry Warden's gone now, he's not a threat anymore, and we're going to go ahead and throw another Valentine's dance. And then we meet our friends who are involved in this romantic love triangle, and that is TJ, played by Paul Kelman, and Sarah, played by Hallier, and Axel, played by Neil Affleck in the film. So it's very interesting to have this love triangle, that there'd be this kind of depth in a slasher film. It's kind of odd, but it's really well done, I think, and it adds an interesting depth to this slasher film, So that kind of puts it above a lot of those one-shots you see in the early 1980s. Plus you have the awesome look of this slasher killer. That adds to it a lot. And there's some grisly death scenes. Now there is an unrated version that was released later on, because apparently the MPAA had to cut a lot of the film out due to the graphic violence. Unfortunately, I don't have that version, and it's out of print now, and it's really expensive to get, apparently, which really sucks. I wish I had that, because it was released on Blu-ray and everything, but eventually I'll get it someday, but even as it is, it's still pretty damn gory, and there's some nasty scenes with the pickaxe, especially this one older woman who gets killed in the laundromat with the pickaxe, and then the sheriff finds her body inside a laundry machine. He opens the laundry machine door, and her body falls out all mangled. It's nasty. Yeah, there's some pretty brutal deaths, and one lady gets impaled on this spike thing. The miner grabs her head, and it's nasty. And then there's one girl that that they show Harry Warden with in the beginning, who is apparently his lover, this really good-looking blonde girl. And once he sees that she has a heart tattoo, he's like, impales her on a spike, which goes right through the heart tattoo. Right above her boob, of course. Shameless, I tell you. So what happens is, when the murders start happening again, they're like, oh man, maybe we should cancel the dance. And what happens is, the miners decide to just have a party anyway down in the mine shaft. They think it would be fun to have a party down the mine shaft. They don't care that the people dying all around them, but... And in the midst of it, TJ and Axel are really clashing over this girl, Sarah, So TJ's like the ex-boyfriend that is still in love with her, and then Axel is the guy currently going out with her, and So, they really clash, But eventually they decide to work together, because situations happen, in the mine shaft where the killer miner goes after him. It appears Harry Warden has returned. So they have an awesome final act down in the mine shaft with all kinds of great chase scenes, with the miner trying to chase him with the axe, and they're all trying desperately to survive, and he's picking them off one by one. And it's such a great setting for a slasher film, and it's really well done. It's really well shot. It's very dark. It's scary. It's awesome. And My Bloody Valentine is an awesome slasher film. So if you guys have not seen My Bloody Valentine by now, what is wrong with you? Because it's one of the best standalone slasher films ever made. So guys, run and buy My Bloody Valentine at all costs. One of the best slasher films ever made. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.